Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our latest Headteacher virtual assembly for the week commencing the 1st of February 2021 and the 5th week of homeschool since lockdown was reintroduced at the start of January. Hope you're doing well, hope you're safe, hope you're managing to continue and complete all of your work on Teams and that you're feeling well supported by all of us here at school. A big well done also to all of the students who are coming into school in our key worker provision. It's not easy coming into school when so few people are here, but they're doing a great job in school as well. And a big thank you to all of our teachers and support staff who are supporting students at home and at school as we go through this strange, different, but hopefully productive spring term. Today, I'm really pleased because the assembly today isn't just me talking to you, and I know that will be a relief to all of you within the school. We have got a couple of our students who are also going to lead in this presentation today, alongside Mrs. O'Donnell, our head of science in the school, who also oversees student leadership across King Henry as well. So I'm going to share my screen as always. We are going to talk today about leadership within the school. Even now, when we're remote, when we're distant from one another, what opportunities we have to make sure that our voices are heard and to make sure that we all participate in our school and how we can improve our school going forwards. So bear with me one moment. I'm just going to share with you my screen today, and hopefully you'll see a PowerPoint with a slide entitled Leadership about to appear. Okay, so everyone, we are going to talk about leadership today and your leadership as students within our extraordinary school. But I thought I would just start off by trying to give an example of what I think leadership is, because you can get lots of different definitions of what leadership is or different examples of what good leadership skills are. I try and simplify it. When I think about leadership, I use this example here, where you think about leadership using your head, leadership using your heart, your hands, and your health, the 4 H's. Really easy to remember, but what do they mean? Well, the most important one, in my opinion, is your heart. When you are a leader in any walk of life, you need to know what you stand for, what you believe in, what your values are, why you're doing something. Really important if you're trying to lead on something that you believe in it and do so genuinely and authentically. Head, being a problem solver. Leadership often requires problem solving. It often requires being able to look at a problem or an issue with many different perspectives, through many different lenses, to have that open mind about how we can improve, and always to be a learner, always to learn new things. A leader never knows it all. Leaders always have to be willing and open-minded about learning more. Hands, seems a bit odd. This really relates to the idea of being hands-on, but you don't ask of others something you wouldn't do yourself. It's a really important thing about here at King Henry School. We talk about being extraordinary and that being the best version of ourselves in any situation. And what we ask of students, we expect of ourselves as staff, particularly around being ready, respectful and safe, for example. The final one is health. Leaders need to look after themselves and others that they are leading at all times. Good leaders bring out the best in other people at all times as well. So good leadership for me has an element of heart, head, hands and health. But what I really want to do is for our school, our community, as we build this extraordinary family culture, is really to pass over the leadership to our students. Leadership shouldn't be something in a school that's just done by the adults. It should be the students leading the change that they want, that they believe in their school, so that this school becomes your school, that you feel a sense of ownership over it. And I'm really pleased today that we have Mrs. O'Donnell, who's going to talk to us in a moment about our leadership structures here at King Henry School, and how you can get involved, how you can have your voice heard, whatever year group you're in, however long you've been here, whatever you want to contribute to wider school life. But I wondered whether you'd also seen, perhaps recently during lockdown, the latest David Attenborough BBC programme entitled The Perfect Planet, because there was a picture of some ants, the picture that you can see on the screen now. And this reminds me about leadership as well, because leadership is about being part of a team. If you were a leader in this picture as an ant, and you were just telling the other ants to jump between one leaf to the other, they wouldn't make it. They would fall through the gap. It wouldn't work. You could tell as many of them to do it as you wanted to. It wouldn't work. But just like the ants, good leaders actually get involved as well. They decide the vision. We want to build this bridge, but then they actually participate in it themselves. You will all have ideas about how we could improve our school further, but you've got to be involved in it yourself. It's part of a team effort. To make the improvements that we want to make here requires all 1,600 of us to play our part, whatever that part is. And for some of you, there are really exciting new parts to play in our student parliament and our school council that we've launched this year. So in this assembly today, we want to look at what is the student voice leadership structure at King Henry School, how is student feedback shared with decision makers at the school, and how can you ensure that your voice is heard. And I'm going to hand over to Mrs. O'Donnell, Head of Science here, but also Head of Student Voice within the school, to tell us a little bit more about the structure of our student parliament and our school council. Mrs. O'Donnell, over to you.
Excellent, thank you, sir. Well, hello everybody. I know we are in very difficult times at the moment, but it is very important that your voices are still very much heard, and we are very much wanting to know how we can improve things and how we can help support you. So one of those threads is through student parliament. Now, within every single form, you should have nominated 2 representatives to represent student parliament. And if you haven't, please do let your form tutor know and we can sort that out. Now, what our form tutor representatives are doing is they are going to talk to you as a form and ask you your opinions on particular issues about what's going on with your school. Now, very recently, we had a survey where you were having a look at your online provision and you were able to feed back to us exactly how well that is going. Now, as we've said, your voices are so important, so please do participate in that feedback in form time when you have that opportunity to do so. So when you're having a look at this little diagram here, you can see that we have 2 representatives per form, which then forms our student parliament. Now, the next stage from that is our student council. Now, we have student parliament meetings, and those are going to happen approximately once every half term. However, during remote learning, we might have a few more so that we can make sure your voices are really heard at such an important time for you. Now, our student council representatives are, as you can see on the screen here, these are then chosen to represent you at your student parliament meeting. So our student council representatives are going to chair the student parliament meetings, and it's then their responsibility to feed back all of that information that you have told them at their meetings for SLT. So that's the decision makers that we have here at King Henry School. Okay, so if you see here from the next diagram, we've got our student parliament, then our student council. Then we will be looking to recruit someone for the head of council, deputy council position, and that's something that we will be doing over the next term. Now, there's lots of fantastic opportunities at the moment throughout student voice and leadership here at King Henry, even though we are in our remote provision. Now, last term we managed to do our food bank collection, which was absolutely fantastic. We raised over 1,000 items and we managed to have Windsor as the house winner for that competition. Now, we do have opportunities to be part of our anti-bullying representatives. We have opportunities to be part of Bexley Youth Council. We have opportunities to be part of mental health ambassadors. So lots of ways in which you can ensure your voice is heard. So please do participate as fully as you can. Thank you, Sam.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mrs. O'Donnell, and thank you for setting up our parliaments and our school council as well. really important that students understand how that works, so you know where you can go to get that student voice heard by all of us within the school. Brilliant. Well, that brings us on now to welcoming two of our students who are going to give you some feedback, or give me some feedback about the initial views of students in their year groups and form groups that they have been speaking to since we went into this lockdown and remote learning. So some feedback from our student parliament to us within the school, really valuable. So a big welcome to Asher and to George, both in year 10, both of whom are going to talk to us over the next couple of slides about some of their students' feedback on remote learning so far. Asher and George, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Brilliant, excellent. Who's going first?
I am.
Okay, off you go.
Prior to the meeting, we also formed the following. What is going well with online learning? How can online learning be better? What is going well with pastoral provision? How can form time be better?
Our meeting agenda was to discuss the responses from our forms, the charity nominations, and we also discussed the anti-bullying reps.
Next slide, please, sir. What is going on with online learning? Most students are punctual and are showing up during online lessons. Some students find remote learning easier having the comfort of their home while learning. Pastoral provision or form gives students the chance to confer and discuss with their form tutor the problems they have. Assignments are easy to do and access at home on your computer, laptop, or phone. Students are given the chance to become independent learners by doing research and revision themselves.
How can online learning be better? Currently, a few teachers are inexperienced and are having trouble teaching remotely. Often they have difficulties in presenting or using all of Teams features. It would be helpful to have more examples of the work to preview to those who don't understand the assignments that they have to complete. Many said that sometimes teachers would set excessive work, thinking that the students do not have much to do, resulting in students being late in submitting assignments. Some teachers also don't set enough work. If we followed the timetable set, it would be easier to do lessons as some overlap, or some are too short, and other lessons are more frequent than others. Teachers should also set quizzes after assignments so that students can recap their learning in that lesson, and it'll be easier to understand. Next slide.
What is going well with pastoral provision? Pastoral provision has proven beneficial for most students as they can talk to and discuss problems or matters with the form tutor daily. It helps build a routine. 15 minutes of form time seems to be ideal. There is a relaxed and friendly environment. How can form time be better? More activities and things to do during form. Make form time a little later, like around 9.
So charity nominations. The student parliament in their forms discussed which charity they should support. Here's a list of some mentioned: the RSPCA and veterinarians related, WWF, Aspinall and Endangered Animals, Rainbow Trust and Cancer Research.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Asher, and thank you, George, as well, for all of that feedback. So Asher and George met with the rest of the Key Stage 4 Student Parliament to get that feedback. So this is largely feedback from Year 10 and Year 11 students, but the other parliaments in Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 5 will be meeting shortly if they haven't already, and we'll take all of that feedback on board. I think you were absolutely right to talk about some of the tips there to improve our remote learning. I liked the bit about modelling and teachers modelling the work and becoming more confident, using visualizers perhaps, or sharing model answers, etc. with students. And I think you were right about the quizzes at the end of the remote learning too. And the most important thing that we're trying to do across the school is get the balance right. Because what we don't want to do is have anyone with too much work to do, where you're getting assignments stacking up throughout the day and then you're feeling stressed by that. And equally, what we don't want is anyone to have too little work to do as well. So it's that balance between trying to get that level right for all of our key stages in the school and across all of our subject areas. But it's really useful feedback, and it'll be useful to compare it to the Key Stage 3 Parliament and the Key Stage 5 Parliament feedback as well. And then what we will do as a school is we will then come back to you about, this is what you've said, this is what we've done, so that you know that actually you haven't just passed it on, but actually that we're acting on your feedback as well. And I think in terms of the charity nominations, I think the idea is that all students will get sent a survey and will be able to vote for their chosen charity, so that we have a King Henry school charity that we have for the whole year that all of our fundraising efforts go into, so that we can maximise our impact on one charity too. So that's great. Asher and George, thank you very much indeed. And Asher, I believe, congratulations, because I think you've been selected to be on the Bexley Youth Council as well. So well done for being nominated to represent King Henry School across Bexley Borough as well. Really proud of you both. Excellent. That's great. In terms of making sure that your voice is heard then, hopefully today you will have learned a little bit more about our student parliaments. The parliaments meet in key stages using the form reps from your tutor groups. They then feed into our school council, members of whom include Asher and George there, and then we get reports back from what the students are saying around the school. But to make sure that nobody is missed out, there's also a whole school student survey that is going live today. And this survey will be sent to your King Henry School email accounts, and you can complete it online. And it asks you about the impact of COVID-19 and remote learning on you and your studies. And I would ask that every student in the school completes that survey, ideally by the end of this week, because then we've got a big school survey completed by all students that will tell us really important information. And we can give the results of that back to the school council and the student parliament as well, and they can discuss anything they can do as students to help improve the situation further too. So look out for that survey. It's on the slide in front of you now, but it will come to your King Henry School email accounts too. And finally then, as ever, I'll leave you just with a quote, which is, "Be a voice, not an echo." It's a short quote, but it's quite a powerful one. How will you make sure that your voice is heard in our school? How will you be a force of change and leadership in your classes, in your tutor groups, with your peer groups, with your friends? How can you have an impact and help us within the school to make sure that this school reflects our students? Because there is so much to do when it comes to inclusivity and diversity and making our school a more tolerant place. We want our students to lead the way. When it comes to environmental issues and trying to make sure that King Henry School is as environmentally friendly as possible, it's our students that we want to lead the way. When it comes to fundraising for our chosen charity, it's our students who are at the heart of it. And when it comes to working in our local community, getting involved in all sorts of projects out and about, particularly after COVID, it's our students who will lead the way. So making sure that your voice is heard is essential. The first way you can do it is responding to the survey that will go live today for students. And the second way you can do it is to make sure that your form reps on your school student parliament understand any concerns or ideas that you have and are able to feed those in to the decision-making process here at King Henry. It's really easy in COVID and lockdown to get caught up in the here and the now, but actually this focus on student leadership is about how we can build a better school going forwards in the longer term after COVID, when we're all back together. And I want every single one of you to be part of it. As ever, thank you for your time. I hope your work goes well this week. I should say that on Friday this week, we are hoping to have a no screen day. One of the bits of feedback from students and staff was the amount of time we're all now looking at a computer screen every day can cause some stress, some headaches, some anxiety. So we are going to be giving all students a menu of alternative things that you can be doing on Friday that don't involve you staring at your computer screen or phone or tablet all day long. And the reason we want to do that is because first and foremost, we care about you, your health and your well-being. And we think that a day away from the screens could help everyone's mental health within our school. So keep an eye out for that. But before Friday, do go onto your emails, return that student survey, have a great week, and look forward to speaking to you again next week. Take care. Bye-bye.